My name's Dave. I do the breakfast show here at TUNE with a couple of other guys. We've got your album. We're going to be giving it away in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, God.
And so, pardon?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, well, if we can just, if you're ready, we'll just get into it, eh?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, this is Dave Gaukroger from The Morning After, talking with Ron Hitler-Barassi from TISM. Ron, first important question, have you got the balaclava on?
Well, Dave, I think whenever I'm talking to the intellectual elite, because let's face it, you've got your Berlins and you've got your New Yorks, and even you've got your inner city cappuccino drinking, latte drinking, black skivvied, pencil necks, arty type people from Melbourne and Sydney. None of that compares, I know, to northern New South Wales, mate. And, we're there. Now, Dave, tell me, what course are you actually doing at your university there? Would be sheep dips, your cattle fungi research?
Well, actually, that features fairly heavily, but I myself am involved more in psychology. That's my field.
Psychology? Well, Christ almighty, you must get a hard time then. Surely you got the clod-hopping farmers' sons who are clod-hopping through there, and, when they see a girl, they nudge each other and go, nice udders on that one, and you'd be the intellectual psychologist that they'd all just want to bash up behind the shelter sheds, wouldn't you?
Basically, yes, it happens quite a lot.
And you're involved in the radio station, and you're sort of this gawky, you'd be the sort of the cool, groovy type with all the, Radiohead on the T-shirts, and all the blokes are looking at you going, what's that freaking commie band on the... A lot of One Nation supporters out there?
Quite a few, actually, Ron.
God, it must be horrible.
It is, but actually that brings us to a question I've got for you. What do you think of the political situation in Queensland in the wake of One Nation's recent success?
You are at the front line there, obviously, aren't you? There,
very close.
It is almost oxymoronic. The whole idea of a university out there in cattle country, it just doesn't seem to fit. One Nation, it's a very easy thing to slag One Nation, I know that, and, of course, I'm starting, like all us, down here, down south, us Melbourne, avant-garde, trendy, city-living bastards who have got no idea how tough it is in the bush, whinge, I want to shoot my gun off because I've got a small dick type of person.
That's us.
We are starting from the premise that One Nation's up its own arse, something chronic. But given that premise, which I totally agree with, everyone we see down here on the media that isn't Pauline Hanson or Dave Oldfield or John Pasquarelli, the rest of the candidates from One Nation, they just seem like old duffers. They remind me of my Auntie Sue, They're just these ordinary old people who are slightly lost because it's not sort of 1964 anymore, and they sort of, they've got that sort of, the world's changed, and, that we haven't got a branch of the bank out in Upper Wandonga.
It is a problem.
Oh, fuck that. I mean, look, let's face it. The National Party's whole gimmick is, as soon as the Aborigines get a government handout, that's sort of wrong and horrible. But when the farmers get their handouts taken away, suddenly we're neglecting the bush. How dare the people from One Nation talk about ATSIC and all that sort of thing when the conservative forces in Australian politics have been in coalition for the majority of years since the end of the Second World War? Farmers' ATSIC, mate, is called the National Party. What's what the freaking Farmers' ATSIC is called? And you can tell your plod-hopping, gumboot bloody wearing farmer sons out there that they can come down to Ron Hitler-Barassi's place down here in Melbourne and he'll challenge them to a fist fight to show what sort of faggots they are.
Good one. Ron, that brings us to the next question. Do you think...
That was an intellectual summary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
This wouldn't even get on student uni radio, would it?
Do you think that with the right type of intolerant policies, TISM could become a serious political force?
We have, of course, we do often scuttle around at night spray painting the graffiti "Australia full, Anglo-Saxons out." See, One Nation have got it totally wrong. I mean, they're on the right track there. We're very pro-segregation, we're pro-intolerance, and we're pro-forcing the migrants out of this country. It's just they're picking the wrong sort of migrants. It's the Anglo-Saxons. Look, if you want to know what sort of migrants are getting all the government grants, it's the freaking Anglo-Saxons. You know why, mate? The Anglo-Saxons are in control of the government. John Howard, Peter Reith, the Treasurer. In fact, the whole of the goddamn government cabinet. The only non-Anglo-Saxon there that I can think of is that bloody Chi bloke in the National Party. But I tell you, it's the Anglo-Saxons who are running this government, mate. And the time they get sent back to their weird, freaky foreign country, whatever it's called, England, I think it was called, the better it will be. I'm fully with One Nation in terms of let's kick out the migrants. They've just got the wrong migrant group.
Okay, well, regarding, speaking of, the Anglo-Saxons, over your single, I Might Be a Cunt, but I'm Not a Fucking Cunt, and a very prominent Anglo-Saxon, Bruce Ruxton, wrote a letter of complaint to your record company.
Yeah.
Did you feel rewarded that you'd been acknowledged by Bruce?
Yeah, look, Bruce's letter, it's all very easy to get on your high horse and slag off Bruce, but Bruce's letter was extremely polite. It was extremely well written. It said, Dear Sir, I'm referring to your TISM's latest single, I Might Be a Cunt, Not a Fucking Cunt. There does seem to be no standards anymore. We're going into the proverbial gutter. I do hope you have a sales backlash. Yours sincerely, BC Ruxton. And I tell you, tell you what, that letter was better written and more considerate than 98% of our fan mail.
That's
Most
good.
of our fan mail scribbled in crayon and goes, Dear Ron, use this grouse. You're sincerely Bobby.
Did you write him a letter of reply?
Nah, because the thing is, when you start getting into a dialogue with Bruce, you're in all sorts of trouble there. We have got the letter framed, of course. It's one of our. It goes up there right next to the letter from Ken Dunn's lawyer.
Oh, that's very good. Of course, over the censored due to legal advice.
That's right.
Marvellous.
And Ken Dunn's an artist, and I think, but unfortunately, he's not as good as artist as Bruce. It's very easy to slag Bruce, but the only problem with the RSL, is like when you think about it, all those young Anzac blokes running up that hill trying to shoot Turks in 1917, I don't reckon they would have given a rat's ass for Bruce Ruxton or his opinions, but it doesn't matter. He's doing a good job, Bruce.
Yeah, about the album, with reference to it, it's called www.tism.wanker.com.
Yeah.
Do you feel that TISM are a technologically aware band?
No, it's all as, I'm as the technologically aware, interbred country farmer boys that are listening to this would know, that's all a total facade. It's a complete farce. I actually hate the internet's guts.
So you don't own a 56k modem?
No, 56k modem and you log straight on via your goddamn, cable and all that stuff. Let's face it, the internet is bloody a load of old bollocks. There's nothing decent on there. No one can spell. Everyone's going IT''S when they mean ITS. That really, really is offensive. I don't know why Bruce Ruxton's worried about the word fucking cunt when there's so much poor use of the possessive apostrophe out there. No, the internet's a whole lot of... Look, the record company seem to like that, and the propeller heads we pay to put up the internet site seem to like that, but we're totally disinterested in the internet.
Well, the question then is, there's lots of multimedia inclusions on your actual album.
Yeah.
It's quite elaborate.
Yeah.
Why'd you fucking bother?
Well, this is just the question I was just hoping no one ever asked me.
Why did you bother, Ron?
I know.
I mean, it's shit.
It is bloody appalling. But you should have seen the original version. You reckon that stuff's shit. Well, I had one brief look at it before it went on, and it was bloody even worse. It was all this, it was all this poor, corny 16-year-old abuse that people think that's what TISM means. So, we let me tell you, we agree with you that totally, but we even toned that down. The interview with me and Humphrey's not all bad, but
listen, I tell you what, you sound like you're getting a bit self-important, like, analysing your own songs. I mean, surely that's becoming a little bit artistic.
That's true, but we did analyse it in terms of we thought Moe was a great champagne region in France.
I did think that was quite good.
Yeah, that's right. So, look, we have to, Dave, agree with you 100%. You've picked our fear right there, and the multimedia component, if I can just tell the listeners, the multimedia component of our CD deserves to be really, deserves to be fed to the sheep with the... I don't even know what you feed to sheep. What do you feed to sheep these days?
Basically, we're in a drought, so you don't feed them much at all.
Right, you just shoot them.
Yeah, basically.
Well, you guys are the ones with the guns. Take the multimedia component and just dig a ditch and shoot it and chuck it in.
All right, then. Look, on previous releases, you've aimed largely at taking the piss out of the Sacred Cows of society, but on this album, you seem to be hassling young people. Are you reassessing your worldviews, or are you just turning into old farts?
Well, that's a very, very probing question, Dave. Are we reassessing our worldviews or turning into old farts?
Yeah.
I'd like to hope. I'd very much like to hope that it is the old fart option. I do think that TISM's always been rather an old fart band. We've been sticklers for the proper use of the word, like ironic, which Alanis Morissette has got no idea what it means. And, you know, words like meretricious and penultimate, you know, I've often heard people use those words in a totally wrong meaning with a totally wrong context.
So you're against malapropisms then?
Yeah, yeah, that's right, and oxymorons and also onomatopoeia. Dave, I hate to say this, and I hate to say this to your listeners on air, but I've really got to go because I've got another call. It's let me have a look at yeah, I think it's Peter Reith actually calling.
Geez, that's a bit harsh.
Well, it's a pain in the arse, isn't it?
Can I just fit it in one last
one, Dave?
One quick one.
For the people up there in the country doing a great job. I mean, let's face it. Without farmers, what would us city people eat, mate? That's a great argument. It's one that I've often stumbled over.
A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer, but I drink to get pissed.
Yeah.
Is this a social commentary or an autobiographical tome?
For God's sake, these questions with alternatives, this is like on your computer, you know, click OK or click cancel. Well, no, basically it was a song about teenagers getting pissed. That's sort of nostalgia song, mate.
Oh, right.
That's our,
yeah,
that's our old 55. I remember the days when I used to sort of get pissed and everyone, girls were drunk by 8:30 and getting a stink finger was a really big thing. And the only thing that's carried over from those days is getting a stink finger is a really big thing still, most TISM. Dave, I've really got to go.
Okay, then. Thank you very much for your time, Ron Hitler-Barassi.
Yeah, sorry to rush off like this. A big hello to the farmers, and, you know, I know that it's drought, I know that it's floods, and fair dinkum, mate, you can blame all those wogs and all those Asians for the droughts and the floods. I reckon, mate, if we had less Asians here, no, the rain would come just as you farmers want it.
Thank you, Ron.
See you, Dave.